What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Can't Stop Playing. We are back from E3 with a boatload of news, and it's time to share more of that with you. I'm your host, Zach GhostRobo. Joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, and now I can say that since we've actually met and committed a few crimes.
We've actually done crimes together.
We have partnered up and cooperated on some illicit activities. Gabe Volatile Gabe is here.
Okay, some of the stuff that we did on the highway could technically be considered a crime. That one time that you did that U-turn that you shouldn't have done because you went there. Okay, so we are partners in crime.
That time that we pulled into the parking structure and got out and then got back in and got back out and got back in.
Yeah, we did go down the damn escalators twice.
So I introduced Gabe to the magical I don't even know what you'd call it, experience of a 10-story parking garage in Los Angeles.
Yeah, those things aren't real in Texas.
And
well, they are in Austin, not here.
You were blown away. You're well, when does it end? And I was gonna just jump us off the top ramp, but instead we tried to find a very nasty Buffalo Wild Wings that I warned you against.
That was the worst Buffalo Wild Wings I've ever seen. It was tiny. It was cramped. It made me sick. Most importantly,
all the employees looked the same. You got them confused when you were in there.
That was borderline racism, by the way.
No,
on my part.
We don't know what they could have all been. Whatever they were just all Californian.
All right.
Anyhow,
Hi.
Gabe got sick. Gabe got sick and missed day 2 of E3.
Yeah, but then I came right back for day 3 though.
You did come back for day 3, and we almost lost Scott for good after his sickness on the couch.
It was amazing.
But he actually made it back for day 3 as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say Max isn't here. He'll be here for the Batman talk. We're not talking about Batman this time. This is just and I want to say sorry because we didn't get this up during the week of E3, but the internet in the hotel wasn't what we wanted it to be.
For sure.
It was super spotty at best, and yeah, we apologize for that. But
we're sincerely sorry. Press X to blow you a kiss for forgiveness. Yeah. And make sure to check out, we have a new feed. The iTunes thing kind of crapped out on us the past couple of weeks, so we had to delete the podcast off of iTunes and re-put it back on. I'll put links in the description on the YouTube video. I'll be tweeting it out, and we're probably going to run a new contest. So stay tuned for the main episode this week about Batman to hear more on that. But yeah, there's a new feed, so if you want to resubscribe to that, that would be a great way for you to get access to all of these podcasts, because if you're still subscribed to the old one, unfortunately that does you no good. It's dead and done and not sending anything out anymore. So we
delete the old one, subscribe to this one, and re-review. That's important.
Leave us a review. You have to course correct history. This isn't like a retcon. You have to go back and write exactly what you wrote. So remember, whatever you said, just say it again, and we would super appreciate your support. It definitely makes this possible and definitely keeps us going strong. E3 Day 2 was super strong, Gabe. I'm sorry that you weren't there.
I'm sorry, too.
And
it was terrible.
I think we'll just get those games out of the way since I saw them. Just to give you guys a heads up, a bunch of good stuff. We're looking at AC Syndicate, For Honor, Ghost Recon, Battleborn, Deus Ex, Evolve Season 2, yes, Lego Dimensions, Mad Max, Disney Infinity, Mirror's Edge 2, Battlefront, Street Fighter, and actually, you know what? Let's just start with Yokai Watch, game of the show. Gabe, tell us why Yokai Watch is such an important title at E3 this year.
All right, it's important because they have corrected everything Pokemon did wrong. Pokemon, you walk very slow right up until you get the bike or running shoes, whatever it is in that particular game. Here, you're just fast all the time. You get to run around. I know we did something very revolutionary. We walked towards 3 points in the map, and we got there, and there was a Pokemon. I mean, what are they called?
A yokai.
Yokai? Is that their terminology?
Yeah, just real quick, this is the game that's basically taking Japan by storm. It's kind of like a Pokemon wannabe, except apparently better than in some ways. You're a boy with a watch, and he has a ghost in the watch, and then you go and fight other ghosts. It's me, basically. Yeah. Moving fast, tall and thin, awesome. And
but the boy's not tall.
He's not. How do you know it's top down?
The Pokemon. I know they're not Pokemon. That's what I'm going to call them.
Okay.
They're not as cute as Pokemon.
They're a little bit uglier.
Yeah, they are. They're creepy looking.
It's got definitely a Japanese persona almost vibe to it in terms of weird old man with slouchy cheeks and weird lady with 2 heads and a broomstick and weird creature with a big tongue and a fat belly.
And just in case people's sarcasm detectors are broken, we're not fans of Yokai Watch over here.
It's really
or
weird.
Whatever. It's weird. I don't know why Zach even brought it up. I played half of those games that you mentioned. Half I want to hear about.
But I want to talk about Yokai Watch because...
What else are you going to say?
I want to say the battle system is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I felt like I was at a 6-year-old birthday party. you have this wheel, and there's all
hold on. Can I set the stage?
Set the stage.
All right, look, we wanted to play Zelda. There was a line for Zelda, but next to the line for Zelda, Nintendo does this. It's the thing that they do. They get a girl, and they strap 3DSs to her, and they tell you to play them. So we're there in front of this girl that's wholly uninterested. She's talking to this other guy about like fashion, I think, and we're there, and he's gonna get into the combat right now, but we're doing all of this while strapped to a female, which is super strange. And every once in a while, I don't know if you noticed, but she would give us this like weird glance, like those dudes are dumb. And I agreed with her. Like, yes, this game makes us look like we're dumb.
The weirdest part is that like of all the companies, Nintendo's the only one that like stays very like strict to this, like a girl at every station, a girl like strapped to the handheld. It's like Sony has almost all of their stations unattended, and a lot of the other companies have like booth people there, but typically they're just like employees. Nintendo hires these girls out to stand there and look pretty.
They hire a very specific kind of girl as well.
Yeah, but usually foreign, tall, and long hair. Anyhow,
I spoke Spanish with her for like 2 minutes.
2 whole minutes?
Yeah, it was like the best time of my life.
Best time? Was it better than that time that Game Rat came over to the hotel?
No, I told her something about you. I forgot what. She said something about you.
Oh.
And I said something. Yeah, like I basically said like, yeah, he does that in Spanish. So, yeah.
Like whatever. YouTube or was he like is really weird and gross? And...
No, it was not the gross thing, but it was something along not weird, but she says something like he's like very tall and he plays like because you were tapping on the screen. He's doing that very fast. I said, yeah, he does that or something like that.
Oh well, in this game you have this like wheel of fortune that has all your yokai, and as you spin it like on the screen they are like rotating in and out. It's like a perpetual party system with way too many characters, and then in order to make them attack you don't like pick from a menu, you tap on them and then it gives you some strange mini game. So the mini game could be like spin in a circle, or it could be like trace these shapes, or tap all these dots, or hit the pulse in rhythm, and then they do their attack, and it honestly felt like an iPhone game gone wrong.
Or gotten right, dude. The lines that you have to trace, you don't even got to be accurate. I specifically like it was like a squiggly line. I specifically did it wrong, and it still did it.
Like the weird part is I played that new Paper Mario Super Jam or whatever the heck it's called, and that game rewards you for being like timely and skilled. And then here, I felt like I could just like mash the screen and like I don't know if it's modifying the attacks or making them weaker. It was like the dumbest system. I was so looking forward to that game as sort of like I was like as a new kind of Pokemon thing because I'm so sick of the Pokemon formula. But I like the idea of it. And then Yokai Watch, I don't know. We don't need to give it any more time, but maybe it, like when you sit down and learn it, it's fine. But it seemed like a 6-year-old like birthday party gimmick.
We had a timer on us. We had 7 minutes or some shit. All right, so in the 7 minutes we had, it didn't do it for us, but maybe the game's cool. Who knows?
Let's go to the Ubisoft Towers. They had their special Uplay private area in the 71st floor of the U.S. Bank Tower in downtown LA.
You told me 72nd.
Well, there were 72 floors in the building, but this is on the 71st. So penthouse wasn't...
They didn't quite make it up.
No, they didn't. Right. I had to take 4 elevators to get where I wanted to go. There was the garage to lobby elevator. No, garage to like... entrance elevator, entrance to lobby elevator, lobby to 52nd transition floor elevator, and then 52nd to 71st. Complete chaos.
Sounds complicated.
Once up there, I played Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which isn't very complicated at all. It's Assassin's Creed in London. Yeah. It very much feels like the Brotherhood to Unity. It's a refinement, or at least a rehash with a new window dressing. I do really like the rope launcher. I will say that I think that is going to improve the game significantly, and that's the move where generic boy do you know his name?
I don't know his name.
We'll call him Gabriel. Gabriel uses the rope launcher and then can quickly scale buildings like very fast, which in theory, like it sounds retarded because that takes away from one of the best parts of Assassin's Creed, which is like, hey, you can climb up buildings and stuff. Like
but the free running has gotten less accurate with time somehow.
So now it's just like zoom, you're on top of the building, great. And you can pretty much connect it anywhere. Like he's way less picky than Batman about where you line launch this thing. You can just like throw it.
So we'll compare that to your favorite game of the year, Dying Light.
Mm-hmm.
When you get that hook and you can basically just hook around everywhere.
I never got that hook, but okay.
So that's what you do. All right.
Was it good?
Yeah, it's awesome. You can basically just get to swing around the city, and this is what this sounds like. But Jake was very adamant about them not wanting to be called a what? I forgot.
A grapple hook.
Yeah,
they want to be called rope launcher.
Okay, they spank you in the hand or something when you called it a grappling hook, right?
Yeah, they gave us a French beatdown, which was not a pleasant sight. The other stuff going on, like I mean, there's some tweaks, but they're ever so slight. Like there's carriages. They made a big deal about that. It's basically like if you took a car game and like boiled it down to like the most basic dumb elements. That's carriage racing or riding. There's like, oh, now you can shoot hallucinogenic darts into a fire and they'll take out multiple targets, or you can blow up a barrel and it will knock out. I mean, it literally felt like, hey, we made Unity and we need another game for this year, so what are a few tweaks we can make? Like, maybe the story's great and all in all the game's good, but graphically it looks almost identical. Gameplay-wise, it felt almost identical. Control-wise, everything felt insanely similar.
But you get to ride a carriage now.
I guess. Oh, another highly touted feature was, for the first time in Assassin's Creed, you can climb on billboards.
Okay.
So, drop your pre-order down now. I don't know. The game could turn out okay. I mean, think about it. Unity had some good ideas. If this was a polished, perfected version of that, I could see it doing well. Maybe not revolutionary, but well. It's just very odd. I guess it's expected now that their cycle is very much, it seems like a 3-year cycle. Like, the new game comes out every 3 years, and in between,
you're going to get stop gaps in between.
Right.
See, and this time they're not doing co-op at all, and the co-op in Unity was actually sort of fun. I did it with a couple of other YouTubers from that I had met at the Ubisoft event thing, and we had a really, really good time. The only problem was that it was janky as far as like connection goes. Like, the netcode wasn't great, and things like that. So if they could have like somehow gotten that to work a lot better, I think co-op would have been fun in this setting. But this is single player only from what they've said. I think that's the terminology they used.
No multiplayer. It feels like a smaller game than Unity, which is odd. I wish they would go back to some of the mysterious modern era stuff, like the Desmond stuff, because the stuff in Unity was...
Desmond's dead. Spoiler.
I know, but like, give me... Like, that was the best part, I felt, of some of those games. It's like...
Just get Kristen Bell back into the game. That's all it needs.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed 1, when you wake up in that room and you're like, what's going on? Now it's just like a talking face, and... It was enjoyable to play, so we'll give it time. The one
For Honor.
For Honor.
Sorry, I cut off your transition.
I was about to make beautiful word magic for everyone's ears.
I had to stop. That's my goal, to just stop your beautiful word magic.
Stop my word, man. You wanted to stop all my magic the whole trip. I would be like playing an awesome game, and Gabe would just cut in front of me. There would be some like beautiful girl trying to give me a hug, and Gabe would just step in front of me. You're just like, you're a magic.
Literally, none of that is true.
Except the part where I did play awesome games and people gave me a lot of hugs. Those parts are true.
No, but none of it was like impeded by me. I didn't stop any of it.
Gabe was just protecting me. He's like, don't get close. Don't get close to this GhostRobo guy.
Yeah, I was his bodyguard.
For Honor, you're your own bodyguard. You have a sword, and you're pretty darn strong. It's an interesting game. We played a multiplayer mode. It was a 4-on-4 battle. And it was this strange capture and hold, push the line type mode where there were 3 capture points, A, B, and C, and then in the middle of the battlefield, all these kind of generic soldiers went to work. And if you've seen the trailers, this is Ubisoft's new franchise. It's medieval, and it almost seems to like straddle the line between Dynasty Warriors and like Dark Souls a little bit, or maybe Rise.
That's the vibe I got.
Yeah, and combat-wise, it very much is like that, because it has this strange mix where when you fight the generic soldiers, it's just hack and slash, right? They're like 1 or 2 hit kills. But when you fight against other like knights, then it becomes this interesting system, almost like Infinity Blade-esque, where you want to try to defend and attack, defend in the same direction that they're attacking and attack in the direction they're not defending. So there's down left, down right, and straight up, and you're using like the right stick to like change your stance. In practice, it's pretty sporadic. Like, that's the only thing I didn't like, is I felt like I was just like left, up, down, right, like, whoa, mash the buttons. But the mode is like super unique, and it was super fun. They had this interesting mechanic where you're going to play for 1,000 points, but when someone got 1,000, it would put you in this like break mode where now there was no respawn. So if they were able to get 1,000 points and then kill off all 4 of your knights, they would win. But if during that time of no respawn, you were able to retake one of the points, it would sort of reset the game, cool things down, get off this like Enfuego mode, and you would have a chance. And we did that 3 times, to the point where then we broke them, and I got the final kill to win, and we were kind of flipping out. It was like a pretty... It was impressive that like in a quick demo setting, it built so much tension. And the combat is fun. Like, it's very deliberate, and you have to really think about it. At the same time, like, it was so helter-skelter, I did feel very much like there was a luck element. Like, oh, I got lucky and went down left. They went up. I went down right. I have no idea how that game's structured as a single player game though. Like it doesn't
But
seem.
it does have it though, right? This isn't multiplayer only, is
I
it?
don't know. They said right now they're just talking about this multiplayer mode when I asked.
Okay, but
So,
I feel like there has to be more there than this mode. So
Rainbow Six says hello. I mean,
Rainbow Six, hi, Rainbow Six.
Rainbow Six doesn't even have 6 modes.
It does. Wait, no, it doesn't. You're right.
I
It doesn't.
don't think it does.
No.
So yeah, that's a little bit interesting, and I don't know. Like it was very enjoyable to play. Like I'll give them that. Like it was super fun, and it's a different style. So like anytime there's an innovation, I like that. 2-on-1s was really brutal. Like anytime 2 knights would come at you, I was like, forget it. Like you had no chance because you take damage fast. Yeah. It's because again, like you then have to be matching the strikes of 2 separate people like within split seconds. Maybe you could get really good with practice or something.
Maybe you're just horrible.
Maybe I'm just terrible. Yeah, that's totally possible. But I did like that you had like these perks. So like as you were doing good and getting points, you could then use these perks. Like one was to sort of like you'd like yell and like supercharge your generic soldiers to kind of push a little bit of that like MOBA feel, right? Because they're pushing in the middle of the map, which kind of helps you advance because then when their knights meet in the middle, they're kind of blocked by the creeps a little bit. And then like your third ability in this demo was a catapult that would call down this like strike that would deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, I saw some of that, the siege weapons or whatever. Everything's a MOBA now. The whole MOBAization of the industry is super weird.
I mean, and this isn't like lane based or anything like that.
No. But you can see the MOBA elements.
Yeah,
though.
It's way more promising than I thought the like press release description was. So I'm excited to see.
I told you it looked cool, man. When that trailer and the gameplay, they sent out the press release. I saw some of that gameplay specifically for that mode as well, and it looked very, very cool.
All hail Gabe. He knows everything.
Yeah.
Let's go to something that probably is everyone's excited for, which is let's go to Battlefront.
Okay. Oh, you skipped what I thought you were gonna. All right.
I want to jump over all this and just talk about Battlefront because I know that's one that we've talked about a lot on this show, and we were really skeptical of. And let's set the stage a little bit.
The line waiting.
Yeah.
And not even the real line. This is like the VIP line.
Right. So
And even this was an annoying line.
most booths, like, they give you instant access to their games, like if you have an appointment. At EA, they're just like, take this lanyard and you're in the VIP, which basically was just a big line because people, once they got this VIP lanyard, they could do it all day, every day. So you were waiting in line for Battlefront multiplayer, and I went and told the lady, like, I don't have time. This line is so long. I want to see it. So she's like, okay, I'll get you right in. All of a sudden, I'm being escorted through this like random appearing door in the wall. Like they pressed a few books and the bookshelf opened, and I'm like,
that wall door freaked me out.
yeah. All of a sudden, it's like super tiny back room with 2 TVs, 2 PS4s, and the Horde mode, which I can get to in a second. But yeah, the multiplayer line for Battlefront, like it was all snowed out. There was a mini, or I guess a life-size R2D2 and C3PO, and it was really hot.
You kissed one of them.
I did. I kissed.
You kissed R2D2.
Yeah. No love for the tall bronze guy.
He's gold.
He's bronze.
All right.
After all these years?
Yeah. You mentioned the lanyard, and I wanted to ask, I want to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
Did you get my badge?
I have your badge.
Okay, because I forgot my badge in Zach's car, and I left. He dropped me off at the airport. Nice guy. Great guy. He drops me off just, after he uses me for a week, and he says, here, go home. So I forgot my badge, and it's my first E3, so I want to have that badge, and I'm glad he got it.
As soon as I got back, I made sure that we took care of that for you.
Okay, awesome.
But after we got through the hotline, the snow, and the droids, Battlefront,
it's cool.
It's
very
surprising.
Cool. That game, that's stupid. We were in this tiny room. There was maybe 40 of us in the room, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of us, 30 or 40.
People. Yeah.
Between there. And there's a lot of us in this one room. There's no ventilation. Like it's like that room doesn't exist. They put up these like fake walls. We can't breathe.
Everybody was like really antsy. It's the last demo of the day. The people were pretty pissy. There were people trying to like cut in line and get in. The devs and PR people were like fed up. It's literally the last thing that's going to happen at E3 2015.
I won't say who it was, but that was the first time during E3 that I saw like developers like cuss at people. and it was very cool. Very notable developer in this game. Just straight up just cuss at people. Like, who the let you in here? I'm like, ah. All right, that was cool.
So we played it, and I mean, I played the single player thing quote unquote first, and I told you when I came out of that, like, it feels like Star Wars, and you were like, what does that mean? But like, that's the best way to describe it. Like, it really feels like Star Wars. It's not Battlefield.
It's not. It's not Battlefield.
It's really not.
And I was afraid it was, and it's not.
Which is a good thing, for sure.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Man, they got all the sounds perfected. Like the sounds of all the blasters and, you know, the X-Wings flying by and all, pretty much any Star Wars sound, including the music that you can think of in your head and the way you envision it, that's exactly how it sounds.
Yeah.
It's magical, man. Dude, the gameplay was so much better than I thought because I'm already getting into the multiplayer stuff. That's what I played. I didn't get to touch the single player. Mm-hmm. Those thrusts, the jetpack you have, it makes like getting around the map like super fun, even though the map's not like really great. There's trenches. That's basically the only like place you have to cover.
We played on Hoth, so it was like big open snowfield, a few little indoor sections, and trenches.
Yeah, and I found out Luke is not a kill streak. It appears randomly, like in one of the spawn points. Like as a little power up, you just go and get it. Even if you're like doing horrible, if you get it, you get it. Anyone can get it. There's these little coins that you acquire randomly through the map, and they'll be like, oh, you can now be a freaking TIE fighter pilot, or you can be control the AT-AT, or I guess you can be Luke. Which you did.
Yeah.
And you were bad at it.
It was the slowest vehicle I've ever controlled in a video game. Literally the AT-AT is not moving. Turning it, I was like, I couldn't hit anyone because where it's aiming is where it's going to be, and then I flew the TIE fighter right into the ground.
We weren't opposite teams. I think the reason your AT-AT wasn't moving is because like we had like done the circle around the legs thing.
Yeah, but still, when that thing moves, it's like...
Yeah.
The blasters are weird. They fire like sniper rifles basically because they're laser beams.
Some do. I think if you would have tried some of the guns, you would see that some don't have the range.
But default assault rifle gun, like the assault rifle wannabe, is like across the map. You're just like pegging people. But it felt good, and it had like good sound, good feedback, and there's like I felt like there's a nice pace to it, where kills they didn't take super short. They probably took a little bit more than like a Call of Duty or something.
You can run away. Like if you're getting shot at, you can fully get away. The other person has to work to kill you. I want to pat myself on the back just a little bit.
Okay.
I started off this game. I had never touched Star Wars Battlefront. And I instantly go like 8-0. I'm just killing dudes left and right. I feel untouchable. I'm like, whoa, this is my jam. Like am I Luke? I wasn't Luke. But yeah.
You're the rebel they've been waiting for.
Yeah, but then after that, like stuff sort of evened out. I ended up going like 24-17. So I did die quite a bit afterwards, but I just started off just amazingly. It
really had like not Battlefield the game, but Battlefield in the sense of like epic scale. Like there was a lot of that. You had the planes flying in, which I didn't really care for that much, but I didn't feel like they impacted things as highly as they could have. I more like the fact that just like there's all these rebel soldiers coming at my Imperial soldiers, and a lot of variety too. You had like guys that looked like Greedo, and guys that looked like Luke, and guys that were, girl troopers and stormtroopers and all this different stuff. And then you have these loadouts, and it's 3 items or 3 abilities. And there were 2 loadouts in the demo we played.
We couldn't mess with them.
Right. And so you had the loadout I used. I had basically like a grenade volley on the left bumper. I had the jetpack on triangle, which the jetpack is like kind of like a psycho jetpack. It's not like straight up. It's just more like they launch it. It's like a fire's lit under your butt and you just like Mario leap really far.
That's exactly how jetpacks work.
It kind of felt awesome though.
The grenades are super satisfying too. You mentioned them very quickly, like the way you launch them and because you throw 3 at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can.
If you told me it was 20, I would have felt like it was 20 because like wow, like they're all just.
No, you're shooting 3. So what you do is you shoot one and then you're moving the actual like gun as you're doing it, so you're shooting them in 3 different directions.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's what I was doing, and it actually. Well, okay, that was weird. I got so many grenade kills. It was awesome.
And then the third one I had was like a charge shot that would like soup up your gun for like an electric shot. And the other power up that was the only difference on the secondary loadout was a shield. But in theory, there would be a lot of these things, and you could probably mix and match them, I hope. The interface was a little bit weird. I almost felt like it was like kind of infantile. But I guess it's just like it's definitely accessible, but feels hardcore at the same time. Like they struck a nice balance. They really did.
It's Star Wars, dude, and it looks very Star Wars. Even the interface, like the 3 cards at the bottom that you said that like those look kind of ugly. Your health bar also looked a little ugly, but it looks like very original trilogy Star Wars.
It does.
Like Yeah, it's awesome.
I was impressed. I mean, I wish we had a chance to play more matches and really kind of dive in, because I did well like you did as well, and I felt like it was fun. And I typically don't like those bigger modes. I didn't really know exactly what we were doing. It was like
20 on 20 we were playing, dude.
Prevent the AT-ATs from
existing.
It was, but then like these Y-wings would appear, and then they wouldn't appear, and then
yeah, I can explain it a little bit.
All
you
right.
had the AT-AT,
right?
We didn't. So we were trying to stop your AT-AT from getting to a certain point. You're trying to get it there to that point without us stopping you. So it felt like a lot like that gigantic mode that we played in the game Gigantic. But yeah, so if you're on the team with the AT-AT, your objective is to escort it to a certain point so that all the damage can be done. And our objective was to stop the AT-AT and to not drop my cup.
But you were like capturing these like relay points, and then that would like call in the Y-wings, and then that would slow down the AT. It was like very multi-tiered, and I was just sort of like, huh? But but like 2 thumbs up. Super excited for that game. Real briefly, the horde mode thing was actually pretty fun. They gave us a limited like slice of it, 6 waves. Apparently it's gonna be many more, but it was 2 people, and like we had a good time doing it. And you had limited lives that you shared. You could go around the map and hunt down other lives, pick up perks. It was pretty cool, and it was fun to see in that mode all the different elements of Star Wars. So we were in this canyon, like a sandy thing. It was very vertical, lots of different tiers you could jetpack to and jump down and whatnot. And first it was like traditional stormtroopers coming in, and then there were some more elite stormtroopers, even some ATSTs dropped down. Like it was, I could see that being fun. It definitely is not single player, and I do wonder if this game, when it comes out, is going to have like that content, worry that multiplayer only games have, because this is not a single player at all.
I hope, publishers learn. Titanfall could have easily been helped by a single player. Evolve would have 2K said as much. Like, we wish we had done a single player.
Right.
They keep trying it, and maybe one of these it'll hit the stride, and constant updates. Splatoon's doing a very good job of that. Every week there's something new, and if Battlefront can do something similar, that'd be great. But I think single player is important, and I wish it was in the game. But that said, my excitement for Battlefront has gone up tremendously, because before I was very tepid as far as my expectations. Scott's word, by the way. My expectations for it weren't super high, but after playing this, it's so fun, and it's so Star Wars, and I can't wait to actually play it. Are they doing a beta? Right?
I don't think so.
They didn't mention anything?
I think because they're holding back content for the movie and stuff, I think they're pretty strict about when that's coming out. It does make me wish, and maybe that's what Visceral's working on, but like imagine a single player shooter with this. That would be so cool. It feels good, acquiring new weapons, upgrades, like just fighting even through traditional Star Wars levels. I don't even care if we replayed episode 7. Like, give me the movie license game. You know what I mean? Like, that would be amazing. I would love to play through episode 7 with these controls.
They can throw a whole bunch of stuff in there. You know what I mean? Like, and even like space battles. I'm not saying they haven't, they said, hey, there's no space battles.
Right.
You could easily add them, I think. I have a feeling it's being worked on.
Maybe.
It's just not going to be at launch.
And I was going
to say, I'd be surprised if, like, Star Wars Battlefront 2 comes out and we didn't already have, like, space battles in this one. Like, in some manner, like a giant expansion, a la Battlefield Vietnam. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I would love to have a single-player expansion. And I was just going to ask, do you play in first or third person?
I couldn't get into third person. I kept trying. I was pressing random buttons, and I didn't know which one did it.
I played in first, which I was impressed with how well it handled. Like, it felt totally competent.
Well, button switch. I could have sworn I pressed every button.
I switched it a few times, but I was like, yeah, first person's for me.
Yeah, I only played first person. So.
And we also only played first person in Mirror's Edge 2 if we walk across the EA booth and go to the other special long line demo area.
That line wasn't that long.
It wasn't that.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as Battlefront, but yeah, there was a line.
We did wait like 3 sessions. And then we entered an all-white sterile room with 2 girls from Sweden, DICE developers, and I felt like I was in Mirror's Edge. I felt like I was being like inoculated into some like weird futuristic cult. And they showed us the game, and then we got to play it for another, like, those time demos, like, don't do that to me, man. Like, it made me so nervous.
I don't like that, man, because
like a countdown clock up in the corner saying like you have 12 minutes to play this game or whatever.
Yeah. And they gave us 3 objectives. You can get into the details of the objectives, but they give us all 3, and I finished them like, because I in my mind, I'm on this clock, I gotta do it.
Right.
So I went quick, and I finished them fast, and I had like 2 minutes of them. Hey, well, no, I had like 5 minutes of it, I think. I'm like, damn, that went. So I just kept going, doing that time trial over and over. But sure is Mirror's Edge, and I like Mirror's Edge a lot.
For sure. It's February 26th, so it's out very soon. It's a lot farther along than I expected, or probably most people, based on the fact that we've seen no gameplay. It's basically Mirror's Edge in like an open world. It doesn't seem like they added any like crazy action gunplay. It doesn't seem like they really modified much about it. You're still, following the red path to your location.
Very pretty game.
It's very.
I like the.
I was
like
stylistic.
Stylistic.
Yeah.
It's always different, right? The white and the red. It's something that you don't see all that often, but like the world being so big, I think it looked to me better than I expected, given the fact that this is like, quote unquote open world. Because I don't think it's as open as they like make it seem. And
that was my big question after playing like the demo we did. We did like a race, like a little bit of combat, and then I don't even remember what the third one, like a puzzle-ish thing, which wasn't really a puzzle. It was like more like just platforming.
Yeah.
But my big question is, I'm like looking around this city, and it doesn't look like a traditional open world. So I'm like, where can we really go? Like, how much is there to explore? Can I go all the way to ground level and then climb back up to the roofs? Or am I only on the roofs, or what?
We were on ground level for a little while, but our partner, the NPC, said, hey, we got to get off the ground because they're looking for us.
And then
so I think maybe you can be. But yeah, I think maybe you can be, but it's just like limited because, there are people looking for you. So.
And when we played, it was very empty. Like, there was hardly anyone in the city, hardly any stuff going on. So it'll be interesting to see how they populate all that. But I think, like, as long as the storyline is good and they have some really interesting set pieces, I think like there's nothing wrong with open world. We had kind of a fear like, is this going to ruin the Mirror's Edge thing? But it seems like they've stayed very true to the vision of the game and just expanded it. So it is very much a sequel, though. Like, this very much, they're not calling it
It's not a sequel.
I know, but it feels so much like a sequel. Like, of all the games there, I feel like this felt the most like the original. Of all the games at E3, like, this was, if you told me this was Mirror's Edge 1 HD, I would have believed you, because it controlled very similar. It looked very similar. One little cool tech thing is, like, as you set a waypoint, it modifies the world and sort of changes what's red and what's not, which I thought was, like, that had to take some pretty good programming, like, knowledge to have the world update. You did it?
I did it.
That code? Okay.
Yeah, that was all me.
Okay.
I wrote like maybe 6,000 million. That's not a number, but that's how many lines of code I wrote for this, just for you, because I knew you would like it.
Such a sweetheart game.
Yeah. All right.
I wish I could hug you right now. Maybe at PAX. So Mirror's Edge, like, I don't have a lot to say about it. I was slightly disappointed because I went in as that being the game I wanted to play most at E3, and I was hoping it would like wow me in like some crazy way, and it's very Mirror's Edge. I don't know. We'll see what the full game is like. It comes out in 8 months, so you're gonna get it soon. It looks good. It played good. It controlled well, and it has promise. I just want to know more about the structure because I'm looking around that city, like I said. And it doesn't look like most open world cities. It has way more building density and verticality and height than like Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah.
It's because it's all about like the quick movement and the platforming. I do think like having all those races and the different time trials and stuff will be cool, because that was one of like the hidden gems of Mirror's Edge, which was a hidden gem itself, was like those little races you could do and then compare your leaderboard times and kind of perfect them. Having them now nicely integrated into the main world, like, I think it'll be cool, like, to see like, oh, Gabe, it took like 6 minutes to do this and I did it in 30 seconds, like,
that's exactly how it's gonna go.
Right. So that's Mirror's Edge. Let's talk about what might be my game of the show, and it might be your game of the show as well.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry. And the typing,
Gabe is talking to Max right now.
Yeah, it's Max, because he wasn't able to make it for this show. We're coordinating to get him on for the Batman discussion, which is coming on your normal schedule. That's tomorrow. But sorry, that's what that is. I'm not just over here bored with Zachary.
Yeah,
and I'm
Gabe's just playing Minesweeper. Like, screw this E3. I'm done. Bring out 2016. Battleborn. Not
Battleborn.
Not
We're born at battle.
Not Bloodborne.
I literally just got a tweet about that 3 minutes ago. Somebody tweeted, "Do you believe Battleborn will be a bust?" No, I don't. I think Battleborn is super cool.
It is. It was my most surprising game of the show.
I'll say that. It was my most surprising game of the show for sure. That and Zelda, but Zelda for different reasons.
Yeah, this is 2K's, Gearbox's new project. It's basically like they took everything about Borderlands, MOBAs, and Evolve and like smashed it together. So if you're not familiar with this, it's 25 unique heroes. in 5-on-5 competitive and co-op multiplayer. There's also a single player, which is basically mission-based, that you can play alone or in co-op, but it very much is like a storyline, characters, bosses. Like, so this is like a legit, there is a campaign.
Yeah. More mobilization, right?
Yeah, because we played one of those single-player co-op levels, but there is competitive where like you're pushing minions and you're going to be trying to get to the other person's base, destroy their base, that stuff. We didn't see that, but what we did play was a five-person co-op single-player level, and it was freaking awesome. Like, I don't think that you can understand the level of fun that this game holds until you play it, because visually it seems just like, oh, it's just like this generic shooter. They've got different abilities. There's not a whole lot of impact on the weaponry, but man, the characters are so diverse, and the entire thing comes together in almost like an arcadey way, where I was like moving around super quick, trying to get a high score, kill as many enemies as I could, and it felt like a replayable game, and I don't typically replay stuff.
All those characters, man, like just replaying even the same scenario with a different character can be like dramatically different. Cause I don't remember the names. You've played this game more than me. This is the first time I played it.
Pick the two that you played, and I'll tell you who they were. But tell us about them.
Okay, first the guy the way that the developer described it was like, hey, if you like shooters,
Oscar Mike.
Yes, Oscar Mike. That I liked his name when I heard it. I just didn't remember it. I played as Oscar Mike, and then I played as that one dude with swords. Was he Red?
Wrath, yes.
Yes, I played as Wrath. There you go. Those are the two I played.
Guys, just like with Evolve, I don't have like some secret relationship with the development team. I just really like the game, so I like looked at the character guide and like memorized it.
And he's played it more than me. Yeah. To be fair, I played it, just this one day.
I played the demo 4 times, five times. 5 times, I think. Whew. Battleborn. All right, so tell us about Oscar Mike and Wrath.
Oscar Mike plays basically what you expect a Borderlands character to play as, because it's very shooter based and the game looks aesthetically a lot like Borderlands as well. But the cool thing about Wrath is it's so different, because you got to get up close. You still have ranged attacks that you can do, but getting up close is preferable. So what I like doing, and maybe this is like just a little mean on my end, if I see that like somebody on my team's like shooting at someone and they're about to kill them, I'll just go take the kill. Mm-hmm. I'll run up to them. I'll say, hey, that's my kill. And I go take it. I get the points. Some of them, at least, they still get some for the attack. The game sort of makes you work together, but also kind of just like, for lack of a better word, shit. And I get to just shit on people that are on the same team as me. And I thought that was super fun. Wait, I'm getting confused with this game. Isn't no that. Wait, is it? Yes, it is. All right. So as the abilities, as you get them, you get to pick from one of the two, right? That's this one.
So within the game, within every mission or within every multiplayer mode, you're leveling up from 1 to 10. Well, if you make it there, and at each level, you will get to pick one of 2 skills. So you'll press, I believe it's the left bumper, or maybe the left trigger, one of the two, and you open up like a menu, and the game's still going on. So this is all like in real time, and you're choosing like either left or right on this side.
It's passive or like combat based. That's what it seemed like to me. Like, oh, you get like increased movement speed or something like that, and the other one was like more like, oh, you're gonna do more damage, or you get like an extra like little.
Sure, it'll be like, oh, instead of 1 pillar of evil energy dropping from the sky, now 2, or would you rather have 15% more character speed or 15% more gun accuracy, or do you want this special move to have an increased radius or an increased poison effect? So you're picking almost like, again, MOBA-esque, like leveling up these stats in typically passive but sometimes active ways, which I thought was just genius. Like, it felt so fun to be very active and involved constantly. It never pulls control away from you. Like, you're playing the game, getting kills. Oh god, I leveled up. Quickly go to this menu, choose. Enemies are coming at me. Like, it was very in your face. It was like the Cartoon Network of first person shooters, because it never stopped.
Oscar Mike was cool because I was able to drop the like little orbital thing, but it didn't take a long time. Usually when you do like orbital strikes of some kind, it takes a long time for it to actually come down. Here you press it like in the zone that it's gonna happen, and then it just happens instantly. So there's a group of enemies you don't have to like, account for like the lead in time, that basically, oh, they're walking, that slow, so I gotta lead it in, or like, no, you drop it on them and it's dropped on them damn near instantly. The one thing I will say, and a lot of people said this, including you, but there's a good reason for it. Like, this is very easy. The way that we were playing it, I think the developer said like, well, we toned it down specifically for the demo, but
it was tuned incredibly simple. Yeah.
Yeah, the game was dramatically easy. But dude, how many characters are there? 25
unique characters, which is that's a freaking huge amount to launch with.
And dude, based off of what I saw like when we were waiting in that like very small line that we waited in, I was looking at all the screens, and dude, they all look so different.
Oh, yeah.
They all look like they play very different.
And they're not saying it right now. I'm sure they want to avoid an Evolve snafu, but it's set up so perfectly for a MOBA-style new character DLC distribution. But if they're this different and they're giving you 25, I have no issue with that. None at all, especially if the content is as complete as it seems. And before I get into my characters that I really like, there's also a meta progression where you're leveling up the characters outside of battle. So the more you play Oscar Mike, you're going to then have some slight boosts and buffs to him. You'll have new skins unlock, and even you'll get 3 choices for some of those level ups depending on how far you push Oscar Mike overall. So there's like in-game like micro leveling up, and then out-of-game meta leveling up, which I think is really smart. This shows how different the characters are. The first one I'll tell you about is Arendi, who is like this evil demon sorceress. I believe she's voiced by the same girl who did Tiny Tina. It has like that Borderlands vibe for sure, like funny in your face, sometimes a little too like crass and brash, but like that charm, and a really pretty art style, like cell shading done right.
It looks like Borderlands,
but better. Borderlands had like a little bit of like a roughness to it. This felt very like,
this is what Borderlands 3 is gonna look like, I think.
Yeah, probably. So Arendi, she would fire her hands off, which was just like a generic attack, and they do very much feel, some of the characters, like MOBA attacks. Like you just hold down right trigger and they're doing their attack constantly. That's my one complaint, is I wish there was more force feedback or audio feedback on the attacks, but alas. That was her main attack. Then she also had a move where she would make an explosion at her feet and jump back because she has low health, and so you would want to, get out of situations quickly. This game borrows the shield health mechanic from Borderlands, so you're, refilling your shield with little orbs and refilling your health, and when they dip into your health, it's permanent, but the shield will recover. And she also had an attack where she would call down a huge pillar of light, but there was like on a 2-second delay or 1.5-second delay. So you'd set this like energy field, and then this evil pillar of wrath light would come down. And so as you upgraded that, it would either be like a bigger pillar, 2 pillars, a secondary strike, or stuff like, okay, if you use your, feet explosion attack, it will then decrease the cooldown of the wrath pillars by a second. Like a lot of complementary stuff. And you're right, they did reduce quickly. Like you were able to use this stuff frequently. It's not like, oh, use it once, wait a couple minutes. It's like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you have an ultimate ability, and for her, she basically fired like a demonic Kamehameha blast, Hadoken type thing, which dealt a lot of damage. She was so fun to play, and I felt like the vulnerability of her, and that made it, you have to move around constantly. It was easy, so we didn't get to see the dynamic of like true cooperation, but like my brother Jake played as a healer in that round, and I could see those two having to stick together, like healer and her. She's dealing mass damage, but the healer has to keep her alive. I think the reason it was so antagonistic at E3 is because there was no risk of really dying that much. I mean, some people did a couple times. I did once, but yeah. And then the other one, shame. The other one I'll point out is Marquise or Marquis.
I thought it was Marcus.
Marquise.
I'm probably wrong. I don't remember.
Anyways, he is a sniper. He is a robotic butler, basically. And again, this just shows how different these characters are. He had a sniper rifle that could zoom in, which dealt massive damage on headshots. He also had an up-close, like, if you weren't ADSing, it was just like a shotgun pistol. And then his moves were really weird. He could call in this, like, robotic owl that would come and, like, do a laser attack. And so as you leveled that up, throughout the match, you were leveling up like, oh, will it attack 2 enemies, or will it, be unblockable by geometry, so no matter what, it guarantees a hit. And then I believe he had a time distortion grenade, which slowed everyone down in his field. Again, you can see like how Arendi, Oscar Mike, and Mark, gosh, it's gonna bug the crap on me, are so different. And I will give a quick shout out to Thorn. She's like this sniper chick, or bow and arrow chick, I guess, who doesn't...
She's the one that looked like super cool with that bow and arrow.
She doesn't have a shield at all, but she was so strong.
You need a healer next to her then.
Yeah, if the game is as hard as they claim it to be, but yeah, like
are you gonna die a lot?
She was headshots with those bow and arrows, and some of the different attacks she had were just in freaking insane. Yeah, it is Marquis. I was right. Whew. But yeah, if you look at the visual variety and then in gameplay variety, like sometimes they have different buttons. Like I said, like Arendi could just do the typical hand attack, but then you got Marquis who can like zoom in. It is super cool and has vaulted to the top of my most anticipated list for this fall.
Yeah, that's one that's like sneaking up on me. At least I forgot that game was even this year until the show, and it was super fun. Obviously, you speak a lot more in detail about it because you played 5 times. I played that one time and it was a short session, so it's hard for me to remember a lot, especially because I get that game and Gigantic confused quite a bit for some reason, because they're both very MOBA-esque, even though the games are really like nothing like the same really, but I get them a little confused in my mind. But I'm looking forward to it for sure. Is it October? It's an October game.
It's winter, so I'm guessing they're trying to wait and see what all gets delayed or not, and then pick their punch. Where do you think it would fit best? Like knowing like Halo in October, Tomb Raider, Fallout, Call of Duty November, Battlefront November. Like when would you release this game?
Could they theoretically put it on September? I know it's early.
Is that winter? It's cold. I mean, it's cold in the Midwest in September.
It's not winter, I guess. You wait for December, I think.
Yeah.
Because November, you don't want to be anywhere near Fallout.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, November with Tomb Raider, Fallout, and Call of Duty and Battlefront, like that's brutal.
You're not dropping in November. If you're Battleborn, you're not dropping in November. So
I think like a first
January?
week of December. They've said this year.
Oh, well, he said winter. So
winter 2015.
Okay.
It's so on all the trailers. It says winter 2015.
So it's December. I
think you either put it out in early October before Halo, or because that gives you a month before Fallout.
Yeah.
Or you put it out in December. I think first week of December would be a great time for it.
Yeah, I'm thinking December, or maybe mid-December. Well, no, but
Christmas Eve.
Yeah. You
all those last-minute shoppers.
See, because they're gonna want it out before Black Friday. Is my other thing, though.
Right.
Who knows?
I mean, Hitman's coming out December 8th.
Yeah, part of Hitman is coming out December 8th. It's not the whole game.
And Nintendo does some December stuff. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but nonetheless, it's one to super look out for. Let's talk about Mad Maxwell.
I like that game. I like what I played.
Tell us about it.
What'd you do? We had to pick between either the combat section, which is like very Batman combat, or the car stuff, and I went with the car stuff.
Me too.
I'm assuming you did too.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody went with. There's a lot of wasteland, open world, but it's just a whole bunch of
flat nothing. Very pretty flat nothing, but
yeah. You're in this car. You get to do upgrades to the car. You got to carry gas with you. I'm just going off my very limited memory of this game because I was super distracted by what was going on because I really wanted to see the actual combat, but I couldn't play it. So I was looking around while I was trying to play. It's very generic open world. You go from point A to point B, blow something up, take what you need to take, upgrade your car, and that was basically the extent of what we got to do. It was super limited. Right after that, the PR handler, she said, "Oh, now just drive around and do what you want." Drove around very fast. I got to upgrade the motor to my car or whatever, so I was able to go faster. The car combat, what'd you think? Because some of those weapons,
it's awkward as hell.
It's
just you're like, press the left bumper to target this, press the right bumper to pull while you're still steering. I was like flying off the road. It was weird. I feel like
they took a long time to finish that demo too.
I felt like they watched the trailer for the original Rage before it was cell shaded, and it was like this wasteland car battler, and they're like, let's make that game. I don't know how that game lasts for 8 hours. Like,
well,
what do you do?
Well, no, there's a story, and there's that Batman style combat. I think the vehicle combat, while it is a little clunky, you'll get used to it. We had a very limited time with it. We were dropped like in the middle of the world, in the middle of the game, quite literally, I think, and told, "Hey, just do this." We had to defeat a convoy of enemies.
But Gabe, think about the controls. Think about what you were doing.
D-pad
to switch weapons as you're firing, as you're driving, as you're targeting.
Yeah,
it's awkward. It's like
it's super clunky. I know, but it's satisfying as hell. Like because when you're like targeting the guy or like the other car, it slows down time. So you have time to switch whatever weapon you want, and it slows it down. Pulling somebody out of that car, it was pretty freaking great. Like shooting the tires out on one of the cars so that it can like go much slower or spin out of control. Pretty freaking great. Did you get to burn them? Like you use that fire one where you're basically just go right next to them and there's like fire coming out of either side of your car.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Like if having like chaos filled fun in an open world is your thing, this does it quite well. I think. I just wish that it was easier to control the actual car combat, switching between all the weapons. Maybe stick to one weapon for a while. We were being shown a demo, so we were being told to switch through all the weapons quite often, but you could just stick with one weapon if you want, right?
Yeah, there wasn't really any. I mean, you could pull armor off and stuff. There wasn't really any reason to switch weapons except like to try it out. It felt to me like a really cool sequence as part of a larger game. But if that is the game, like drive from point A to point B, fight cars, and then do some Batman combat, like that seems like a pretty thin package. So
depends on how the story is. Gameplay wise,
if that's
might
all
be
you're
pretty
doing,
thin.
like
What?
fight cars, fight dudes, get back in your car.
Well, because there's also a lot of management. You have to manage your gasoline and water,
We
stuff
didn't
like
see
that.
really any of that.
Yeah, well, she said you're always gonna want to have gasoline on you. You're gonna need it. I'm like, yeah, but what if you just run out of gas in the middle of one of these encounters? You have to. I don't know.
Walk all the way back.
Well, no, I had gas on me, like in the
Okay.
back of the car. You get to store it and put more gas in the car, but that takes a little while to do. It's not instant, so I don't know. But I had fun.
I thought it was pretty fun. I just thought it demoed poorly. Like,
Yeah.
you don't really get a sense of what. Like, all the customization seemed pretty complex. Like, you're customizing Max himself, the car, upgrades, weapons. I just
got that ornament on the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a head, a human head.
I just don't get the sense of like what the like the half-hour loop of that game is. Like,
I don't know.
It's hard, but we'll find out. We played another game at Warner Brothers, and this one was the complete opposite of Mad Max. Lego Dimensions. It's
Speaking of confusing things, that didn't demo super well either.
I thought it was really fun, but what they're doing with the portal, this is their Toys to Life game, is weird.
That game did not demo well either.
No?
Though. No.
I liked it a lot.
Well, maybe the person that we had doing the demo. Let's not even get into what that was, but there's a lot of the switching, like, dude, seven like characters at one time on this portal. It can be a little bit overbearing. Go do this. Only Gandalf can do this. Get Gandalf back on here. Like, what are you doing?
The story centers around Gandalf, Wildstyle, and Batman, but you can put anybody else in there. So we had like Scooby-Doo, we had Chell from Portal, we had a freaking like Ninjago armor suit, we had the Mystery Machine.
We had the Batmobile.
We had
other stuff. There was
just a bunch of crap on the screen. The levels were really cool. Like the Portal level looked like Portal. You were like knocking over turrets and shooting portals and like Cake is a Lie and all that. I was surprised by how true to the original vision of the properties they were, and that's exciting. Like this game brings in Doctor Who and The Simpsons and DC and Jurassic Park and all this stuff. Could be very cool to see, like, oh, Back to the Future in Lego style, Portal in Lego style, but done like super true. The weird part is it plays like a Lego game until you do the portal switching, where like it'll have these puzzles where all of a sudden you have to like the left side of the portal will light up yellow, the back will light up blue, and the right will light up red, and then you have to like match a character who's on the yellow side to a yellow switch, and the red side.
I didn't dig that. I don't.
Yeah. Kids are gonna have to sit
That
on the
was a little.
floor.
It was a little complicated.
This is not a couch game anymore. There was so much portal switching, you legit like have to be sitting next to it or something, which I think is really awkward. It is an interesting way to bring in more of like a puzzly element to it and to utilize. Like, look, the Skylanders and Amiibo stuff, you throw it on there, it's done. Here, they're letting you, like, build the actual figure, reconfigure the figure a different way. There's multiple, like, builds for each vehicle. Now, granted, you don't have to physically change it. You could just switch it in-game, but you can physically change it if you want, which is kind of cool. And I think Lego is so tactile and hands-on, they wanted to, like, somehow bring that element into, like, the electronic space, and that's why you're constantly, like, picking and switching the characters up. But in the demo, at least, it was a little bit, like...
Yeah.
What am I doing? Like, why are
I'll
we...
say this though, the figures are cool. Like the actual figures, they're gonna make so much money with those.
They had like this mock store set up where you saw like there's like hundreds of different sets and they're all so expensive. It's gonna print money. We've talked with Max a lot about like, oh, Skylanders, Disney, Lego. I think that Lego could be the biggest seller of the year.
Lego has a good chance. They have all those Justice League characters. They had Superman, they had Wonder Woman, They had Aquaman, they had Batman. I didn't see the Flash in there, but he might be in there. Who knows? He's the only one I didn't see. But dude, that alone, like movie tie-ins. So like when Batman vs Superman comes in, like exclusive like Batman from the movie figure, where like maybe he meets this other Batman, like all this stuff like they could easily do. I think, and I think it would make so much money. The game itself, like I don't know, the demo was a little just weird for me.
Yeah.
I just felt bad. I felt like me and Zach were playing together. We had to get through these. I felt like I was holding us back so much because
there's so much switching. There's 7 things on screen.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot, the handler, she's like, "Oh, Gandalf, go do this." I'm like, "Yeah, Gandalf, go do it." This whole time I'm Gandalf. I didn't even know. I had accidentally switched to Gandalf. I thought I was still Scooby, man.
I think I would definitely only keep like 3 on the screen because again, the game centers around wild style Batman and Gandalf, and you can't access the whole campaign with just those guys. And you'll play through all these different worlds and levels and stuff. If you want to be other characters, you can buy them, and then there are separate level packs. So the game is the purchasable stuff is structured like character packs, like level packs, and then something else. But you can basically buy a whole smorgasbord of add-ons where either you want new characters to be for the main game and whatnot, or you want like a whole new world brought in. So I think like the Doctor Who thing is like a separate world pack that then will incorporate like a new set of levels plus those characters. Plus then you can use those characters in the main game. It seems smartly designed though. Like it doesn't seem like, even though they are charging a lot for everything, like $15 for a character and a car, it does seem like, which like amiibos are $13, so it's not that pricey.
I used to think that it was really expensive, but after seeing the figures and seeing that you can like, you know, tear them apart and actually like reconfigure the vehicle to a limited extent, but you could still do it. I think the price is fair. I wouldn't. It could be cheaper, I think, but I also don't feel like I'm being ripped off.
No,
you know?
And it's very much Lego. Like if you don't like those games, you're not going to like this. But I think it will impress people, and I think it will be the Christmas toy. I really do. Or the Christmas game. Like this is going to be.
So Furby's not making a comeback.
No Chia Pets, no Furbies, no Cabbage Patch.
Tomodachi.
Oh yeah. Disney Infinity has a chance. Those figures are sweet.
Those figures are amazing.
They are really cool. I love
the way those look, yeah.
The Star Wars ones look great. Ninja Theory has worked on the combat. It feels a little bit improved. It's not, like, super great, but I got to play as Darth Maul, Yoda, Vader, a couple other characters, and it was, like, it felt better. Like, Darth Maul has, like, enough moves, force push, lightsaber swing, like a jump, like a couple other things that you could kind of combo guys, but it still is very much like Disney Infinity. Like, when I was Boba Fett shooting his laser and rockets, you're just kind of, like, mashing around. But it looks good, and it's fun to be in that Star Wars world. I think they themed it very well. Like, last year with Guardians of the Galaxies and some of the Marvel stuff, like, it's cool to be the Avengers, but, like, the city is kind of a boring place. Like, I'm just going to be honest. The Star Wars worlds I played in, whether it was Hoth or one of the different, like, droid bases, like, they were cooler to be a part of. And I think that game will do well, especially bringing in, like, Mickey Mouse, Inside Out, all sorts of stuff. But it's very much like Disney Infinity. Like, Lego has, I think, a leg up because it's the new hotness.
They have a Lego up? No, okay, that's bad.
They have a Lego. Oh, I got it.
I said they have a Lego up. Yeah.
Gabe will be here all week, guys. Come back at Friday, 2:30 a.m. So like the kids stuff this year is going to be huge. Disney. We talked about Mario Maker, Lego Dimensions. I think they're all going to be massive. But now, like if I had to predict, I think that Dimensions game, I think it'll review the highest, and I think it will be the biggest seller.
But yeah, that it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Gabriel, we cannot forget your game that we played just for you.
I beat you.
You did.
This was tennis, not as bad because you just destroyed me in tennis. Street Fighter, it controls so different. Like it's a little slow. It's slower than Street Fighter 4, and it was very off-putting. Very limited amount of characters you can use. I'm more familiar with Ryu, and when I was Ryu, I did well against you. I beat you quite handsomely. The second time, I don't even remember who the hell I played as. It wasn't Birdie, was it? I don't remember what. No, was it Birdie? I don't know who I even played as the second time, but I still beat you, but not as well. The kiosk that they had set up was cool. I wish we would have played on the control sticks. We didn't. We played on just PS4 controllers. It's like a little bit slower. There's new systems as far as how to handle your super bar at the bottom. There's no more ultras really, so managing those and when to do your super attacks is a little different. But we didn't play enough for that game for me to actually be able to get.
We couldn't even do the moves.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Some of those moves just weren't working.
It was weird.
Zachary was trying to do like when you were using M Bison, right? And you were trying to do the
Psycho Crusher move.
Yeah, the horizontal down attack, and it just wouldn't work. And I was looking at him do it.
I know how to do my quarter circles and my back forwards and my half circles and my Z's or whatever you want to call that, like the freaking Dragon Punch move. And even with Cammy, it just wasn't working.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was specific to that kiosk. Like a lot of the moves just were not working.
It has a different pace though.
Yeah, it's a lot slower.
It has like an impact and a like deliberateness to it. Either like everybody got chunky between 4 and 5, or they're like,
you eating all those noodles, man.
It felt. Do you like it being a slower paced game?
I like it. I just need more time with it to learn, because I'm so used to Street Fighter, 4. So I'm used to that pace, and I see this, and it looks a lot like it. So that's where my mind's at.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and you try doing it, and you're slower. And when I say it's a lot slower, you're gonna be like, well, you're dumb. It doesn't even look that much slower. Well, it feels a lot slower, and by a lot, I probably mean that it's like 4 or 5 frames slower, but it's slower. Like it makes a big difference as far as how you're trying to set up your combos. And I'm not a professional. Justin Wong was there. They had a tournament. Justin Wong won. Justin Wong was victorious.
There you
Let me
go.
say it like that.
There you go.
But when you're someone like him, obviously you can count frames that you're playing. You'll be set. But for me, like I need
weird.
a lot of time to be able to learn these things. But I liked it. I'm excited for this. There's a beta, which is strange. A beta for a Street Fighter game, but that's coming next
I mean,
month.
if the moves
actually.
don't work, they better get that under control.
Yeah, I think that was just exclusive to the event. I don't know if it was like a lot of like wireless, sick. Oh no, the controls were plugged in, so it can't even be that. I don't know what it was.
The characters were just too shy to do all their real moves.
Yeah.
Everybody was scared.
What was even better was what was
God.
happening next. What should I not get into?
Go for it. Yeah, tell them what E3's like.
Next to the kiosk that we were at the last one, and there's this like stage where there's this woman dressed as Cammy who basically had a wedgie. There was a guy dressed as Bison. There was a guy dressed as Ryu. And if you wanted to, I don't know why you would want this, but you could go up there and had all these cameras set up where you could go up there and pretend like you're hitting them, and like if you do like a punch motion towards them, like they all jump back like ever so slowly, and
So
the
goofy.
cameras like catch like this picture of you like in the perfect time where it looks like you're actually hitting them and they're all jumping back. It looks so dumb, and it's boring Zachary to death. And I just thought that was so.
It was really awkward. Like, it's funny, like at these trade industry events, and there's supposed to be like all these professional people there like checking games out, to see like some of this more like goofy con stuff going on, like cosplay or these photos, or like even at the Disney booth you could like take your picture in this like fake 3D thing with like different Star Wars characters, and I don't know,
You could get on top of one of those
speeder bike things.
Yeah, whatever. It's dumb. You could take a picture next to a guy dressed in Star Wars attire. I don't even know what that suit's called, so I don't want to get it wrong.
Like
the orange one.
Yeah, like the Rebel pilot.
Yeah.
Whatever. A Ghost Recon, I have like nothing to say about it. I don't think that game's coming out anytime soon. The demo is really weird. It's basically like an open world do anything game, and it's supposedly awesome, but it had no structure. It reminds me of where The Division was at last year.
That was a little awkward, guys. We're going through a list, okay?
Yeah.
And that's why we went from like Street Fighter to him just blurting out Ghost Recon. I have nothing to talk about. There's a list that we're going through.
It's really, really weird. Again, I think it's like they're like, this is a game. Come back next year to know what it is.
And the year after.
Yeah, and the year
probably.
after, and maybe even the year after. But Division seems to be coming together nicely, even though I still have no idea what the campaign and multiplayer are like.
Give us a quick Evolve 2 minutes.
Oh boy, my Evolve
minutes,
minute.
2 minutes.
I get 2 minutes.
Yeah, you get 2.
So
Season 2, 2 minutes.
Out of nowhere at the Evolve Proving Grounds Championships, where there was a $62,000 grand prize. They announced and gave everyone in attendance a free season pass for Evolve Season 2, featuring 4 new hunters and a new spider creepy monster thing that's supposedly really like gross and nasty and looks it. They're rolling this one out kind of weird. Last time with Season 1, they dropped the 4 hunters and Behemoth on the same day. This one, Lennox, is the new character, which is a grandma in a mech suit for the assault class, and she's out now, but there's no dates on anybody else.
They're coming. Don't worry about it.
So it's kind of awkward to like be like, hey, we've got Season 2, and you just get it. It's like they've season pacified this, which I don't know is, it feels weird. Maybe like the upfront idea of like, oh, getting this all like blows their load too early, and now this allows them to extend it longer, especially if they don't have the development dollars or the desire to make like a Season 3 and 4 and 5 like maybe they originally planned.
I don't think so.
But I'm really excited for it. Like, the new monster looks sweet. Some of the new outlines of the characters look sweet. I'll be playing it for sure. I think arena mode is fantastic. I mentioned that. I hope the game gets support. I hope it continues to sell millions of copies. And they I don't know. I think it's just such a weird, sad situation, because I think that game held so much more promise than the world it didn't get the world it deserved.
Yeah, it got the world it needed.
It's the game we need, but not the game we deserve, Gabe.
Yeah, okay. Don't worry. Apparently, we're gonna get Evolve too.
Yeah, and this season 2, I think I don't know. As long as I can keep the player base going, so I have people to play against, I'm super happy. Like I said, the monster looks.
It's not
real
hard
sweet.
to get all 10 of you going. You guys will be good.
Gabriel.
All right, so
2.5 million copies sold.
I don't want to be as cynical as I can be, but most of those are probably
Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Gabe, I don't know what
right
you're
now.
talking about. Deus Ex Mankind Divided.
Yeah, that's a cool game.
Got to see like a 20-minute demo. I think it's the same one that everyone saw. I don't know.
Yeah, it's out there public. There's like 45 minutes of footage out there right now, like gameplay. So it's
that
hot.
game looks real good. That's coming early next year, and I liked Human Revolution, the one on last gen, but I felt like it was very much limited by the tech. It seems like now, with the verticality they've added, the new moves they've added, and just the depth and diversity of the environments, like this is going to be the Deus Ex game we've wanted, and it looks amazing. Like it really looks super cool. And in the demo, they turn off health and they turn off energy limitations. So Adam Jensen's just going all out. The coolest new move is those arm blades he has that used to reach through walls and just slit people's throats. Now he can fire them as harpoons or as like remote detonated charges. Whew! That game is pretty. Looks like you've got an epic arsenal. And did you watch the demo?
Yeah.
Were you impressed how in Deus Ex Mankind or Human Revolution, you would be like in like a very generic like server warehouse, and every room felt like, oh, this like computer office. And here, like, you're going from like a market to like a seedy underground to like a really high tech building to like everything was just like constantly changing, and it felt incredibly dynamic and next gen in the sense of not like, oh, it's such a huge space, although
more detailed though. That's the thing.
Yeah, like the 4-story room where you're like jumping down, zooming up, climbing.
Yeah.
I was so shocked and impressed by how good it looked.
I think this is what they wanted to do last time, but they just couldn't because
exactly.
360 and PS3 were just so underpowered. And now that they have a little bit more of that horsepower with PS4 and Xbox One, they were finally able to make the game that they wanted to make, I think. So
yeah, I mean, the faces and stuff don't look perfect. It's not like, oh, The Order or something, but the environments look really great. It's got that futuristic style that only Deus Ex seems to capture, and I think it offers such a nice alternative to all kind of the like old-timey medieval RPGs that we get, like the Witchers and the Skyrims and even like the Horizons. Like, this is super futuristic, super hype. It seems like it still has a ways to go. Like some of the interface stuff, especially with the dialogue, didn't look that great, and the story is like, I don't know if they hired Kojima or what, but it seems convoluted as all heck. Like, you're walking through this train station with Rihanna, and she's talking to you about what's going on in like this, war between the.
She tells Adam Jensen, that bitch better have my money.
Yeah.
And Adam Jensen's all like, we'll make sure you get your money.
And then there's like some like what are they called in that game? They're not called cyborgs. They're called like
augmented
apartheid or something like this. Like separation. It just seems real convoluted and complicated. But of all the games I saw, like it demoed one of the best. It looked incredibly. I didn't get to play it sadly, but it looked like just like a super fun time, and it built so much hype.
See, that game now, a lot of people like to play Deus Ex, stealth only. Like, no guns. We're not even, this time you don't even have to shoot bosses, nothing, right?
It makes no sense to me. What do? Just walk out the door?
No, but then the thing becomes, dude, you could throw harpoons and blow people up. Like, so you want to do this, but you also want to be so stealthy, so it would be a good mixture, I think.
And how they limit that energy flow, like in this demo, they're firing a harpoon every 5 seconds, but maybe in real levels, you can only use like 3 or something based on I don't know. I think that one is going to be one to watch out for. First half of 2016, Mirror's Edge 2, Deus Ex, Uncharted 4, like and more. It's going to be an epic.
There's so many games in the first like 3 months of next year. Like, it's hard to even keep track of what it is at this point.
Which is awesome, because normally there's like that letdown after the fall, but now we don't seem to have that. Like January, February, March are turning into killer months for games.
Yeah, and the summer's still dead. Guys, put out games in the summer.
If Battleborn came out today, like think about how big of a seller it would be. I think it would be like a multi-million seller in the summer.
Yeah, kids aren't in school. They're out here doing hooligan things. So get them indoors playing Battleborn. That's what you should have done. You messed up.
I'm looking at like a game like Battleborn, Evolve, Mirror's Edge, Deus Ex. These games are so perfect for the summer months. And they would then avoid the big names of like Halo and Call of Duty and Star Wars, and they'd sell, I feel like, so much better. But I don't know. Apparently the sunshine is not for the stellar games. E3, though, super stellar. We may have a few more that we've missed, and we'll touch on those in the next podcast. But I think that
those
covers
are the big ones.
Yeah, and we got our say in. I think we should still do one more video where we kind of give like a game of show type thing. So we'll have that coming, and we can probably upload it to the iTunes feed as well. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes. Make sure to keep sending your emails in to can'tstopasking@gmail.com. I hope we have a lot of good E3 ones. I'm going to be looking through those for the Batman-centric episode coming up this week. It was a fantastic E3. My favorite I've ever been to.
My first one, so it's automatically my favorite.
Yeah, you started on a good note. Your cherry was popped on a delicious convention.
Yes, so much context there just doesn't make sense to me.
So much good, gushy, juicy liquid all over.
Man,
Yummy as can be.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Amazing. It was an amazing week, man. Just hanging out with you and Jake.
For sure, it was great. Gabe is a standout class act. If anyone questions his morality after his run-ins with the cops in the early episodes, I can tell you that none of that really pans out in real life. Yeah. But that's going to do it for E3, kind of the second half. We covered, like I said, a bunch of stuff. Hopefully we gave you some tips on the games you were looking forward to. Let us know what sounds good to you and what you're most excited for in the comments down below if you're on YouTube, or send us an email, can'tstopasking@gmail.com if you're listening on iTunes. And make sure to get a review and stay tuned for the contest on that. Subscribe to the new feed. And until next time, everybody, follow Gabe on Twitter, twitter.com/volatile, me, twitter.com/GhostRobo. Follow Game Riot, twitter.com/Game Riot. And make sure he's okay.
Hey, everybody, go tweet at Game Riot. Ask him, do you know where I can find a cash point?
Yeah.
Just tweet that.
Tweet at Game Riot Army. Where's the nearest cash point? Or just cash point ? Something about a cash point.
Yeah. Not just cash point ? Just ask, where's the nearest cash point?
Where's the nearest cash point? And that will be the way to earn your badge this week. We
love Scott so much over here.
And Max will be back soon too, we hope. Until that time, though, everybody, thanks for watching. Enjoy this time, because it seems like the consoles are coming in stride, and we're going to have some great games. So it should be a fun fall and a fun next couple of years. We'll get there soon. Until then, though, we will see you all later.
Arrivederci.